The world is standing at the edge of a quiet yet fierce financial war. Not one fought with tanks or sanctions, but with currency. As China pushes to weaken the dollar's grip and elevate the yuan as a global alternative, Washington is preparing a counterattack, a strategy so calculated it could reshape the financial order for decades to come. Behind the scenes, U.S. officials are encouraging struggling nations to adopt the dollar outright, not just as a trading tool, but as their official national currency. At the same time, America is extending its monetary influence into a new frontier: digital finance, where blockchain and stablecoins may become the next battlefield for global power. A quiet counterattack. Since August, President Donald Trump's senior advisors have been holding closed-door meetings with economists and monetary experts, exploring how to re-dollarize parts of the world. The idea sounds radical, but for Washington, it's strategic. Target nations include those drowning in inflation or instability: Argentina, Lebanon, Pakistan, Ghana, Turkey, Egypt, Venezuela, and Jamaica. According to the Financial Times, Treasury and White House officials recently met with Professor Steve Hanke of Johns Hopkins University, one of the world's leading experts on dollarization, to discuss the plan. Hanke later confirmed that the U.S. government is seriously studying the idea, though no final decision has been made. The motivation is clear: Beijing's rise. China's de-dollarization campaign has been gathering momentum. The yuan's share of global payments recently surpassed 5%, a record high. Beijing has doubled its currency swap line with South Korea, expanded yuan-based energy trade with Russia and Gulf states, and is slowly weaving a web of financial alliances designed to challenge the dollar's supremacy in global trade and energy markets. The dollar's dilemma? Analysts at J.P. Morgan warn that the dollar's dominance faces a two-front war. Inside America, political division and erratic fiscal policies are eroding global confidence. Outside, emerging economies are increasingly seeking to trade without relying on the U.S. currency. If this trend continues, if micro-dollarization and de-dollarization both accelerate, it could dramatically reshape global power balances. To counter this, Washington's new strategy goes beyond traditional policy levers. It's about reasserting the dollar's strength through innovation, extending its reach not only across borders, but across digital networks. It's Argentina, the test case. Nowhere is this experiment clearer than in Argentina, a nation consumed by 200% annual inflation and a collapsing peso. President Javier Milei, elected in 2023, campaigned on one bold promise: to dollarize the economy. With Washington's backing and roughly $20 billion in U.S. financial support, Milei hopes to stabilize the economy and rebuild investor trust. The IMF has warned that full dollarization could make Argentina entirely dependent on U.S. Federal Reserve policy. But for Milei, that's a risk worth taking. After all, El Salvador and Ecuador have survived, even thrived under the dollar. If Argentina succeeds, others may follow. The blockchain gamble? Parallel to this push, the Trump administration is betting on a new weapon: blockchain. In July, President Trump signed the Genesis Act, the first U.S. law to regulate stablecoins. Digital tokens pegged to the U.S. dollar. The legislation requires every stablecoin to be backed by highly liquid assets such as dollars or short-term U.S. treasuries. The move has dual purposes. It protects the value of the dollar, while securing America's leadership in the future of digital finance. In Trump's words, it's about keeping the dollar strong, both in the real world and the digital one. The new currency war. Today's currency conflict is no longer about gold or oil. It's about data, trust, and technology. As Beijing uses the yuan to knit a new financial order across Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, Washington is quietly building a two-tiered empire of its own, one based on traditional dollarization and digital dominance. The message from Washington is clear: if the world moves beyond cash, the dollar will move with it. Whether this secret strategy will preserve America, its financial throne, or trigger a new era of monetary extremes remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the battle for global financial supremacy is far from over. And the dollar is not ready to give up its crown just yet.